Hello. All right. I think we're actually live now. I think we're actually live now. Hi, everyone. Yeah. All right. Hi. Hey. How y'all going? So, this is the first time I'm going live on both Instagram and YouTube at the same time. This is the test run. This is the test run. And just making sure that everything is working. Can you all hear me clearly? And this is a let's chat, so this session will not be recorded. It won't be taped. It's literally just a casual session where we could talk and hang out online. And you're going to help me to test this thing out. Comment the word save to get the link. All right, so comment the word save and let me know if you're like getting the link in your inbox. Comment the word save, as in save money, and let me know if you're getting it in your inbox. Let's see if I could pin this. If you're like getting the link in your inbox, comment the word save. Okay. As in save money. Awesome. And then somebody come back. I see in your thing in it, and somebody come back and let me know if you're getting the link. We trial and error in here. We trial and error in here. Oh gosh. How are you going? How are you going? Okay, and yes, Kyla says she received the link. Awesome. Olivia say yes, I got mine in my inbox. Perfection. Olivia, we're all good to go, you know. We're all good to go. How are you going? Now that we get the formalities out of the way, how are you going? How is life? How life treating all you? How all of these IRCC updates treating all you? How are you feeling? Right, and thank you very much to confirm that you all got the link. Tomorrow we'll be getting more into this link, and we'll be getting more into like what actually the banking feature of Opero is in collaboration with Wovio. For persons who are from the Caribbean, you all know about Susu. I think in Jamaica they call it partner. In um in Barbados they call it. I have a whole long list of different words. In Dominica they call it subs. In the Bahamas they call it asu. In Ghana they call it susu. Right, so we're going to be talking about the technology of creating susu communities using technology, linking it to your Canadian bank account, helping you to build Canadian credit that will be available on Upro. Right, so as we test this out, I just wanted to kind of find out, how are you all actually feeling? Right, anybody feeling overwhelmed? Anybody feeling a bit frustrated with immigration? Anybody feeling relieved? Relieved that they get in before all of these rule changes? Or they submit the application right before IRCC, get a whole mood swing situation happening? How y'all feeling? I really want some feedback. Long time I haven't done a live. Trini, honey. Hey, Antonia, how you going? I can't wait to see you in August. Cannot wait. As my God to such coming to visit for the entire month of August. Yeah, telling everybody your business. Tell everybody your business. How y'all feeling? I want to see if anybody commenting. Let me see. Am I missing something here? Wonder if I can let somebody join live. Oh, Like someone is saying, it's frustrating as finding a job is very hard. Are you trying to find a job in Canada from outside of Canada? Is that what you're trying to do? Are you trying to find a job from outside of Canada? Because yeah, that would be very frustrating. It's almost like looking for a needle in a haystack, right? And there's so many different reasons. We could list a couple. All right, I've continuously spoken about this, but maybe you haven't heard before because I haven't done a live in a while. But it's not, oh, yeah, inside Canada, but that's different. Inside Canada, that's different, right? So let me see. If you're outside of Canada, the reason why it might be difficult to find a job inside Canada is because most employers are not interested in sponsoring you for immigration. All right. It's not that they don't want an employee. It's not that they don't need employees. It's not that they don't have jobs. It's that they're just not interested in sponsoring you for immigration. They don't want to go through the hassle, the paperwork, the expense, right? So they would prefer not. They would prefer not. Right? So that's why it's so difficult to find a job to sponsor you. Even like when you're applying for jobs online, most of them will ask you, are you legally able to work in Canada? Right, which could seem very discouraging. Now, coming to Canada on your visitor's visa or your ETA and looking for a job does increase your chances a bit of finding that job that'll provide you with your LIMA. And for those of you who don't know, your LIMA is called your Labor Market Impact Assessment. It increases your chances, yes. But the only reason it increases your chances is because you're physically here and you're able to go to networking events and you're able to meet with people and talk with people and smile and laugh and get people to refer you and network. Right? You're on the ground, you can network, you can communicate a little bit better rather than just submitting a resume online. But for the most part, when you come to Canada on a business visa looking for a job, you also still have to think about the LIMA, right? Which should be like the biggest thorn on your side, this LIMA. Some ways to bypass this LIMA is firstly by learning French. So if you're able to pass the TEF exam, which is why we're so big on French these days, apart from many other reasons why French is becoming very competitive for immigration. But if you're able to pass this TEF exam, for the most part, with some exceptions, you become LIMA exempt throughout Canada. Right? So that's why people love learning French to bypass that. And then, of course, there are various PMPs as well that don't require LIMA. Right? And then now for the persons who are inside Canada and you're having problems finding a job, I would firstly start off by looking at my resume. Is your resume done in the Canadian format? Right? Is your resume done in the Canadian format? Are you utilizing all of the tools available to you to job search and to tweak your resume? Or are you just sending out the same generic resume for each position? There's this tool called JobScan. It uses AI to actually match your resume to the job description. So things like that could really make a big, big difference. Right? It might seem frustrating because you can't find a job and then you tweak one thing on your resume and jobs galore. Jobs galore. Right? So it's just about tweaking. Maybe consider booking a call with a career coach. Do over your resume in a Canadian format, like start from scratch. Include some transferable skills, some soft skills, right? Canada is very big on soft skills that we take for granted. That we may not put on our resume in the Caribbean, they will want to see it on your resume here. So, for example, ability to communicate well, ability to work well in a team, right? Leadership skills, conflict resolution. Those soft skills that they might leave off because who cares about that? They want to see that. And also your transferable skills. So many of us, when we leave the Caribbean and we come to Canada, we always include our education, formal education on our resume, but we forget to include the transferable skills. So you had a parlor in your front yard that you was manning for the past 10 years. Well, guess what? Thy skills in logistics, in sales, customer service, right? Have so much skill just involved in manning a parlor in your front yard. A little shop in your front yard. that you could put on a resume, but most of us will not put that, thinking that it's not like formal education or you wasn't working for a company. There's transferable skills that could lead to you getting a job in sales and logistics, etc., etc. Right? So that would be my best advice for you if you're looking for a job and you're inside Canada and you're struggling to get a job offer and you're international students. And then sometimes to us international students, your challenge is not that people don't want to hire you. And I'm not sure if this is your case because I haven't seen your resume or anything like that. But sometimes it's not that people don't want to hire you. Sometimes it's just that they don't want a part-time worker. Right? A lot of jobs are a bit I wouldn't even say it's biased. They have a preference. They have a need for a full-time employee. And as a student, you probably can only work part-time because either of restrictions through immigration or you're physically unable to be in two places at the same time because you have classes. Right? And employers may not want that. You know? So it's according to the types of jobs you're looking for as well as international students. Right? Any other challenges? Hey, Pixie. Long time I see you, Gil. Oh, gosh. I'm coming down to Calgary, by the way, not this weekend, next weekend. Maybe I would send you a message and we would link up for some drinks or something. All right. So someone is saying, good night. My supervisor, I don't have on no glasses and I'm trying to do this thing reading from far. Don't know why I'm doing this to myself. My supervisor, secondary school teacher, write me a recommendation letter. Or can your supervisor, secondary school teacher, write you a recommendation letter? They can, but you know what? Most employers won't ask for a letter of recommendation until later on in the cycle. So when you get that request for a letter of recommendation, 9 out of 10 times you're ready, get a job. Right? So people don't usually include their references on their resume in Canada. That's one of the major differences between how we write our resumes in the Caribbean compared to Canada, right? So you might mention it at all, or you might just put available upon request. So the employer would ask you for your references when you're ready. Hey, good night. When they are ready for you. And at that time, you're getting excited because you know you probably had a job offer coming right after. Right? And then I would say try to find somebody in Canada to use as a reference. Now, if you have nobody, then sure, go and ask the secondary school teacher and whatnot. But at the same time, they don't want a written reference. They want to call that person or they want to send that person an email link to fill out a survey. Right? So yeah, get the person to write the reference. I did that too, when I was coming to Canada first, I did that. I went to my old bosses and stuff. I still have a whole of printouts in a folder I find the other day from when I was leaving Trinidad to come to Canada. And I went to all my ex-bosses and asked them for references. And they had to put it on the letterhead because you're so thinking that, okay, I want to get everything I need to make sure I could succeed. I never even use one audio. I never even use one of them. Right? The amount of useless things I do before I leave Canada, before I leave Trinidad is a shame. Right? They never ask for it. They never ask it. Nobody will ever ask you for a written letter of reference for a job. Right? They will either ask you for the contact information for that person, or they will ask you for the contact information, either to call them or to send them a survey to fill out about you. Right? Which is why networking is so important. Which is why networking is so important. When you come to Canada, you need to find some people who you could use as references really quickly, right? Yeah, make sure they're good references. Make sure when that person call this reference, let me tell you, they should be saying, use the best thing since sliced bread. I just act as reference to plenty people in my line of work because I deal with newcomers, right? And I even help newcomers out in classes through settlement agencies, which they then could use me as a reference. And when I give you a reference, I'm making it sound like if you don't hire this person, you're a fool. If you don't hire this person, you're a fool. What wrong with you? Why you don't hire this person? And sometimes I would ask you any reference because you had to coach this person to her. Sometimes I would ask you, like, what was one negative thing about the person? And I'll be like, that person was a workaholic. That is a negative thing. That person was a workaholic. They don't know how to say no. There's only saying yes to everything. So the negative thing is also a positive thing, right? Those kind of things. Yeah, and the only other advice I could tell you about, because I do classes with this same topic, the only other major advice is not going too boring for you, because I'm sure most of you all, I see Nelly on here, she in Canada a long time. Plenty of you here a long time, so I don't want to bore the people who are already in Canada, right? But the most important thing, and one of the most important things as well that I would tell you about looking for a job, you're already in Canada looking for a job, is you don't have to disclose everything. I feel like if for Caribbean people, we just really shoot ourselves in our own foot. Well, I wonder if I should use that word. I said I kick more for Instagram. Right? We just really like do ourselves an injustice. Ask us one thing and we just word vomiting or it's all the business. Right? Certain things you don't ever have to disclose and they can't ask you. So if they don't ask, you shouldn't tell. Right? So things like if you have children, you don't have to disclose that. If your marital status is sexual orientation, you don't have to disclose none of them things, and they cannot ask you, right? So they might ask you something like, what do you like to do? And you now volunteer and say, well, I like to go to my children. You now tell them you have children, right? I like to go and take my children ice skating. They didn't know you had children before, and you didn't have to tell them. Right. So I think like that is the number one thing that newcomers in general don't know about Canadian work culture. You don't have to disclose those personal things because of fear of discrimination, and they cannot ask you. They can't ask you, and you'd have to disclose it. So you might as well not disclose it. Right? And yeah, that is all the advice I have for you in terms of in the shortest time possible in terms of job hunting. Right? Any other questions? Anything at all? Anything at all? What you all want to talk about? Or you want a story time? Want a story time? Oh gosh, Ollie, these days I'm feeling like I'm up to my throat in just task and work and everything just a bit overwhelming. But good news is I'm going to be graduating from the accelerator program that I'm doing on the 27th of this month. And from then, my schedule going to free up a lot. It was only a 3 month accelerator program. Schedule going to free up a whole lot once that is done. Right. So looking forward to the 27th of this month where I can breathe a little easy and get back into some sort of a normal routine. Right? But enough about me. How are they going? I'm going to check out the YouTube people. Hey, Monique on YouTube. Hey, Racine on YouTube. A back and forth from YouTube to Instagram. Right? So, yeah, Racine saying inventory management. That's for the parlor, right? Yeah. Racine says she's trying to make it a lot of 15 cents. And we all, be multiplying money. I ain't gonna lie, like we are the best. We are the best, most creative group of people that I know. You know, the most creative group of people that I know. We really know how to make things work. You know, don't ever doubt yourself. Don't ever say, oh, I can't do that. Mm-mm. We come from people who just make things work. When there's no way, we just find a way. When it have everything to depress you and make you feel sad and make you feel down, Caribbean people know how to have fun and laugh. One thing is supposed to cry for, we laughing at. That is an act of defiance. Right? We defiant in we soul. We defiant. We are defiant people. So when somebody say no, we already saying, yeah, why not? Well, that not really mean no. You sure? Right? We defiant. So it's time to like use that defiance that we have as a culture to your benefit. When something looking grim, be like, same philosophy. Nah. I feel like if I could do that, right? You had to be defiant. Have to be defiant. Right? What's the purpose? What's the purpose to move to Canada? Well, it depends. So luxury accessories is asking what's the process? Sorry, Ollie, I don't have no glasses. See this problem? I don't have no glasses. There's a problem, right? So luxury accessories is asking what's the process to move to Canada? It depends. Again, there are over 80 different streams of immigration, right? And just like there's no one size fit all. How much of on this live on Instagram we have 30 people. On YouTube we have a couple people as well. All of us might have a different strategy for immigration. So just like following what your neighbor do or what somebody online do is the quickest way to lose money. It's the quickest way to lose money because there are plenty ways to waste money in immigration, right? So if you want to talk to an immigration lawyer, you could go onto Upload the app. We're in the process of upgrading the app right now. It got approved on Android, but it's not live yet, but it approved. I'm still working on the Apple. So hopefully by this weekend vlog, the app will be the new version of the app will be up. Oh gosh, all you. This thing stress them out. But even on the old version of the app, you could go out and you could check the 80 plus feature. So go into the immigration consultant tab, go down to 80 plus, and you can look up all of the 80 plus different ways to migrate to Canada. All of them, there's a comprehensive list along with the requirements for each one. So if you're looking at just basic research on how to migrate to Canada, that would be a good place to start. On Upper, you could also book a free 15-minute call with an immigration law firm. Good place to start. All right. So I am Kimel is saying, do you all have to start from the bottom and work your way up? No. I would say the easiest way is to start from the bottom and work your way up. Right? The easiest way is to start from the bottom and work your way up. But I have known numerous village members who never got a survival job. Right? So what a survival job is typically the first job you get as a newcomer to Canada. It won't be like in your level. So for example, I was a manager in Trinidad. My first job in Canada was in a department store as a sales clerk. So it's not on your level. It's not on the education level. It's not on the experience level, but it's a survival job. So you're surviving just to pay the bills, right? The good news about Canadian work culture is that there's a lot of room for growth, rapid growth. So from the time you get into a survival job, most people, if you have the willingness to, most people don't stay in survival jobs for very long. You might stay in that job for 2 weeks, a month, until you get another job, right? And the reason why the manager job might hire you right away is because, first of all, they don't know who you are, as in they don't know what culture you're coming from. They don't know what to expect from you, right? We might think, oh, we're from Trinidad, we're from Barbados, we're from Jamaica, we're from the Bahamas. They should know who I am. They don't even know if we don't speak English earlier. They don't even know, I could tell you. They don't know who we are. Right? They don't know what our cultures are. They don't know if by hiring us, they'll have to train us on basic human rights in Canada because things in Canada are different. So, for example, the LGBTQ community here has all the rights. Right? You can't just be going and talking the way we used to talk in the Caribbean about this group of people here. Right? So they don't know if you know that. They don't know if you have the social etiquette. They don't know if you're settled and accumulated and adjusted into Canadian culture. They just don't know. And hiring you, somebody who has never worked in Canada before, to them seems like a liability. It seems like risky. Right? So sometimes what happens is that they will prefer to hire someone who they have seen worked at a Canadian company, even if it's just 2 weeks working in Walmart, to feel comfortable, to know that, this person, somebody else take the risk on them. Right? Somebody else took the risk. They work in a Canadian company. Is a less of a risk for me to hire them because they're qualified and I know that they have worked in a Canadian company, so they understand Canadian culture, even if it's 2 weeks working in a department store. Right? Now, with that in mind, I will tell you that numerous village members never had to take a survival job. They landed in Canada and their first job was in their field. Right, and a good high level paying jobs as well. And the way how they did this is through networking. Through networking. So another way of making an employer feel comfortable with hiring you, even though you've never worked in Canada, is if you meet that employer, or if you have somebody working in that company who can refer you into that position. Because now the trust from the person who referring you, they will lend that trust onto you. Birds of a feather flock together. Right? So if my employer knows that I have great work ethic and I'm referring you into a job, they trust that the person I am referring will be at my standard or higher. And it's true, I will not refer somebody who I know have poor work ethic. Why would I do that? Right? I don't want to look bad. Right? So just because they trust me, they will lend that trust to you. Or if they meet you in person, they could tell that you could speak English or French very well, that you have good etiquette, you're fun, you're easy to talk to, you're friendly. Then, wow, they feel like, yeah, I want to hire this person. And they qualified on top of that. Yeah, hands down, I'll hire this person. So it's true networking is the way to avoid the survival job. But I honestly feel like if taking the survival job is the easiest way. Because after a week or two, couple months maybe, you work your way up. You work your way up because there's a lot of room for promotion. There's a lot of room for job hopping, which I did videos about, right? So job hopping is basically you stay in a company for a couple months, you get the experience, you promote yourself. How do you promote yourself? By applying to another company with a higher paying position in the same field, right? And you move around like that. Like I was talking to my brother last night. My brother was here last night. He just finished studying. He graduated from a Canadian school. He's on his postgraduate work permit. And like we deliberating jobs, right? We was talking about jobs. And like he deliberating, he in one job, but he feeling to go to another job. And I'm like, no, don't go to another job. It'll have other jobs if you want to go later on. And we like weighing out the options, right? And I stopped and I was looking at him and I asked him, like, would you ever have been able to have this kind of conversation in Trinidad? You picking and choosing over jobs. Would you ever have been able to have this kind of conversation in a smaller economy? No, in Trinidad, you get a job, especially if it's a government job, and you sit down there and you wait for somebody to dead before you can get promoted. You just relax yourself. Right? You relax yourself and you stay right there. Right? So don't like limit yourself thinking that is the same type of environment. It isn't. There's a bigger economy, have more opportunity, right? Um so the great Marcy said, I saw that you're an avid coffee drinker. What's your go-to coffee order? So I like uh medium roast coffee with 2 almond milks and 2 sweeteners, not sugar. Because you know, then I was fighting the weight. So I generally use like Splendor. But here the thing, straight enough, you asked that question last night again, talking to my brother. Y'all know, I never used to drink coffee before moving to Canada. Now, isn't that something? Because coffee has now become such a part of my personality that you would think I was drinking coffee since I was a child. I never used to drink coffee before coming to Canada. Never. Coffee wasn't something I used to drink. I think it was the first job. Like coffee is very Canadian, right? Canadians love the Tim Hortons, they love the coffee, and I feel like it's just work culture too. Just working in the office and everybody drinking coffee, coffee for breakfast, coffee for lunch. Coffee when they leave the office. Most times, if you want to go and network with somebody, what do I invite you out for? For coffee, right? You go over to somebody's house, what they offering you? Coffee. Like it is it's very cultural here. Coffee. The way we just drink Carib and Stag, we just drink rum. Oh gosh, Charlie. See, I had to crack these jokes now because tomorrow I'll be more professional, right? But yeah, we just drink rum. In the Caribbean, is the way Canadians just drink coffee. Facts. I don't care what anybody say. Facts. So medicine not living is same. Even if somebody drinking coffee, yeah, coffee. It's not a weather thing. All it's just coffee. It's a cultural thing here. Everybody is just drinking. It's not because of the cold. No, coffee is a year-round thing. Like it's very cultural. Same way, really, how we just drink rum is how they just drink coffee. It's just a part of the making me song bad. If you have anybody who not from the Caribbean here, just know it's the truth. I can't even defend Viola. I cannot even defend me. Right? So yeah, I take coffee with 2 sweeteners and 2 almond milks. Oh gosh, I'm head over to YouTube and see if anybody there. Oh, yeah, some persons listening on YouTube, man. Well, I could see all the comments on YouTube too, you know. So Racine saying, Gil, I going to my bed. Exhausted. Talk to you later. Good night, Racine. Oh, yeah, because it's pretty late by you, right? So right now it is like minutes to 8. So 8, 9, 10 is 11 o'clock in Trinidad. All your bed wet. All your bed wet. All they don't have nothing to do. All they don't have all they don't have husband and wife sitting down next to all they watching all they like what's going on. All your bed wet. What are you doing up? Hey Chris. What are you doing up? Right? So Trini Honey is asking, how long did you practice to do IELTS? A solid week before taking the exam. A solid week. 1 week of full on practice and not paid practice. Free stuff on YouTube. Free stuff on YouTube is what I did for a week, like but intense week. And the thing with me is that I did IELTS in Venezuela because when I was doing IELTS, the time frame to get exam in SBCS or UE in Trinidad was 6 months. I don't know why it was so long. Like you couldn't get it. And I just decided, you know what? They had like one for like 2 weeks away in Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela. It's like, let me book some tickets and let me go. Yeah, to beat the iron while hot. Right. And if you all remember, I did the interview with Anderson, who is the guy who was working in the company that I was working with. I was his boss, I was his manager. And he's the one who told me about Canadian immigration, right? So I didn't know nothing about immigration. I thought everything in immigration related is a scam. And I was just living my life. Right? I was very frustrated. I didn't like my job at all. I was like, I had just had 2 children. I was like going through some postpartum depression. I did now come back out from maternity leave. It was just a horrible situation. My mother-in-law did die like 2 weeks before I gave birth to my son. And it was just horrible. Like plenty of things was going wrong at the same time. And I was hormonal too. So I wasn't very happy and satisfied with my job because of all of those things. And then he let slip, Anderson let slip about Canadian immigration. I went back and into the office. He was on lunch. Went back to the office and I searched up Canadian immigration. I'm gonna tell you something. Anderson and I both started the process at the same time. Because I took the action to go to Venezuela and do IELTS instead of waiting the 6 months to do IELTS in Trinidad. I landed 2 years before Anderson. Maybe like 2.5 years before Anderson. Sometimes it just be the smallest delay. You're thinking, oh, 6 months equals 6 months. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that. The smallest delay sometimes just end up being the biggest sidetrack. Right? Because what happened after that? When I landed, it was COVID. Shortly after. So he had submitted his application and he ended up using an immigration consultant that was a scam. What kind of drama? He talked about it on when I did the live session with him. And that's actually saved on Village TV. If persons in the village and want to see the full interview with him. It was a very interesting interview. He was lost in Toronto, walking through the streets of Toronto in the night while doing the interview with us because he couldn't find where he was going. He had just landed maybe like a week or two before. All right. Very, very entertaining interview. If you're in the village, go and watch an interview with Anderson. And he's talking about like being scammed by immigration fraudsters and yeah, just like going through immigration, waiting throughout COVID. And that delay is what was the catalyst for that major delay. Like the delay of him not coming to Venezuela. I was like, boy, let me go to Venezuela and do this thing. He like, nah, I could wait. I good. That ended up being like 2.5 years of delay. Right? So the great Marcy is asking, what made you decide to leave the corporate world and venture out on your own? It was COVID. It was COVID. Yeah, it was COVID. Like we had lost our jobs to during COVID, like got laid off because the whole company just closed down because it was COVID. And then I was in a small town named Claresholm at the time, got laid off, had to move back to Calgary. And at that time I started my first business, which wasn't this one. And that business was doing well. And then we decided, you know what? Let's come to Edmonton to buy a house. Right? Because Edmonton cheaper than Calgary to buy a house. Best decision I ever make. And when we came here, I got a job. So I went back into the corporate world because you had to qualify for a mortgage and you need a job. Didn't want to hear about no entrepreneur thing. Right? So I got a job and qualified for the mortgage. And then shortly after that, I was like, maybe I should start looking more into this settlement thing that I do. Right? So up until that point, this was maybe like a little bit over 2 years that we landed in Canada. I was doing all of these settlement services as volunteer work. Right? So the majority of people who you all see giving testimonials and whatnot, it wasn't a business all. It was just me going and picking up people on a weekend and after work. Right? It wasn't a business. It really wasn't. It wasn't a business. It was just something I was doing to give back. Right? For like 2+ years. Just because. And then yeah, when I finally settled into Edmonton and like had clarity of mind, Like, yeah, maybe I should think about expanding this venture a bit broader. And this is what we have today. Like 2 years later, that's what we have. Right? Um, how long did West take to verify education when you started? I believe it took like about 6 to 8 weeks, about 8 weeks, about 2 months to verify, yeah. May not apply today though, because different timelines, different times. This is like over 5 years ago, right? Over 5 years ago. Hmm. Wow, how time does fly. I still feel like if I just land in Canada. I still feel like if I just land in Canada. And in May this year will be 5 years. So when I was doing my application, it was like a year before we landed. It was like 5 years ago I was doing my application. And it took like about 8 months to go through the entire application and land. So yeah. Yeah. Feels like just yesterday. Would I do it all over again? Yes. Yeah. All right. So now that we know Instagram working, I will see you all tomorrow. All right. Comment the word save. Comment the word save. If you're in Canada already and you're looking to find out about community banking, comment the word save. You'll get the link to in your inbox. Go create your Wovio account. And tomorrow I'm gonna have the founder of Wovio, Jonah. He's going to come and we're going to talk about his experience settling in Canada because he's an immigrant as well. He's from Zimbabwe, right? Strange enough, a village member went to school with him and one was his room. It's so strange how we all know one another indirectly, and not even in Alberta earlier. In Prince Edward Island, like how how far that is for him to now come back and somehow reconnect with me through networking. That's crazy, right? So we're gonna talk with Jonah tomorrow about community banking. We're gonna talk about the Susu. We're gonna talk about what happens when somebody don't pay the hand, which is the number one problem with Susu. Like how has he solved that problem, and how are we collaborating between Opera and Wovio to bring community banking, traditional community banking, to newcomers in Canada. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow. Come and bring all the juicy questions, bring all the energy, and remember the journey is the prize. Bye, guys. Thank you very much for helping me to test this out. And I'm so happy that it's working. All right, guys. Take care. Bye bye.